Russians are aggressive. The European economy is a disaster. President Obama wants to help all those poor people holding student loans, but at a price. And nothing like a little adult pinball to make the mind and body feel good. All right, let's get to it. Another edition, Bulls, Bears, and Bucks. Let's welcome the chairman for the Society to Advance Financial Education. Time for the rubber to meet the financial road. Steve Beaman is here. Steve, welcome in, and it looks like Wall Street just sort of meandering a little bit today.
Yeah, we had a mixed trading day. The Dow and the NASDAQ were down just a hair and the S&P up just a hair, while you had crude oil running up and gold, all of which says traders are just concerned about yields. We had that very strong jobs number coming out in May, and that's got people concerned the Fed is more seriously considering an interest rate hike.
There it is, that three-letter word again, Fed. We can't get past any single day without mentioning it. All right, let's get to some news here. G7 leaders talking about stronger action against Russia, the Islamic State. And again, I have to say that this is something that we have heard for a while from a lot of the G7 countries, specifically the United States. But when it comes down to financially here, because we're still looking at all these sanctions that are being put up against Russia, we're talking about more sanctions. What's the economic fallout, if you will, from all this at the G7?
Yeah, this is one of those things that people see in the news and wonder why it matters to them. But these meetings do actually matter quite a bit. There are two big pushes at the G7 meeting, the first of which is these sanctions on Russia. And what that does is if we continue the sanctions, it depresses the Russian economy, which causes them to sell more oil into the marketplace to support themselves, which keeps oil supplies a little higher. But the bigger thing is it lends instability to Europe, which is why the euro as a currency dropped a little bit today. And investors here at home are going to feel that in the markets. It's another one of those causes behind the flat to slightly trending down markets.
Steve, just something off topic a little bit. I don't mean to shock you with this one, but I think you can probably answer this better than anybody. When we hear the president say, we really don't have a strategy to fight ISIS, and knowing what ISIS is right now and what it is around the globe, from a financial market standpoint, do statements like that have any sort of repercussions throughout the various markets around the world?
That's a fabulous question, and I'm glad you brought it up because you bet they do. Investors operate on optimism and pessimism and fear and greed, and when the president comes out and says that against something as major as ISIS, yes, indeed, it causes the markets to take pause and say, this could get worse and could cost an awful lot of money to fix. So, yes, it does matter.
All right, let's go ahead and look what the Obama administration is doing now for student debt forgiveness. They want to forgive the federal student loans owed by Americans who can show they were lured to colleges by fraudulent recruiting. Interesting. What does that mean then again, dollar-wise, for these people who are holding those loans?
Yeah, again, I love this topic because it's so direct on millions and millions of Americans who go to these for-profit colleges. Most of them are credible. This particular college in question wasn't, and the federal government has determined that if you borrowed money to go there, well, you're going to get out scot-free. Now, the problem with that is we're sitting on over $1 trillion in student loans, and you can bet your bottom dollar the next suits are going to come against it saying, hey, you bailed these guys out, start with me next.
And by the way, the colleges is Corinthian Colleges, Inc., who has not commented on this, and they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. About 40 seconds we have left here. Dave & Buster's profit climbing. Hey, come on. If you're an adult, you want to go someplace, you want to play some pinball, that's the place to do it. I like that.
You betcha. You and I talked about the Star Wars franchise a while back, and Dave & Buster's has one like it. They just blew earnings out of the water today. Very strong in-store sales reports, very strong growth reports. Their sales are up over $225 million a year, and they look to continue growth, providing clean adult entertainment. It's really a success story.
And you talk about Star Wars, it's the Battle Pod, I guess, something that they have there right now, correct?
That is correct, and it's a lot of fun. I've been to them, so if people want to have a good time, go visit, have a beer and some games.
Okay, so you've been in the Battle Pod.
I have.
Oh, you wonderful nerd, you. Very nice to see. I like that. All right. Took the kids to it, and you did it right. Steve, always a pleasure, my friend. I'll let you know as soon as I get in the Battle Pod, and I'll have to figure out how I beat your score. Take care, buddy.
You probably will. Have a good day.
See you tomorrow. All right, a greater issue than what cops are doing on the street, what they're doing behind prison walls. That's next when we continue right here on Midpoint.